Hey, what's up, guys? It's Alejandro here, back again with another tech review, and today we're going to be talking about the Apple Watch Series 8. Yeah, this is a new product, a 2022 product. I was originally going to do a review on the entire keynote, but I edited the video. I started the video like before I built my new computer, and I was editing on my mom's laptop, which it's just not that good. I just decided, you know what, forget it. I'm not going to do this video. Instead, now that I have an Apple Watch Series 8, I can just do a review on that. And if you're curious, I'll tell you what I think about the other products that were announced in the keynote. Apple Watch Series 8. Well, just keep watching this video. Apple Watch SE, I think it's a good option for most people. There might be some things you would want in the Series 8. So, you know, if you want those features, go for the Series 8. But if you don't care about those features, then go for the SE. Once again, if you're paying less for a watch, you're going to get less features for that watch. So keep that in mind and make sure you really know what you're getting, and, you know, as long as you're fine with it, it's alright, you know, it's all good. Apple Watch Ultra, well, you better be on some crazy fucking adventure or some shit, because I don't see any other reason why you'd get that. Those are for like those people that are like really going out there. It's also for athletes as well, because like some athletes have reported that their Series 7 wasn't good enough, and you know, maybe it's not. The Apple Watch Ultra is basically better than the Series 8 in a lot of ways, actually. But, I mean, you can buy an Apple Watch Ultra and use it as a regular watch. You don't have to use it for its extra crazy features. But if you are just getting it to do all this just normal stuff, just go for the Series 8. All right, you don't need the Ultra. And I didn't get no Ultra because if you watch the short video that I posted, that thing is like way bigger than my entire wrist. My wrists are pretty thin. AirPods Pro 2nd generation, I actually think they're pretty cool, but I recently got AirPods 3rd generation because I thought I lost my 2nd gen AirPods, but reality is it was just under my brother's bed, and not that it matters anyway because the sound quality of these has gotten worse. So got new AirPods, they're 3rd gen AirPods, and they're okay, alright, they're pretty good, way better than the 2nd gen AirPods. iPhone 14 and 14 Plus, well, the phone is boring as hell. I'm just gonna say it straight up. Just go for like a 13 Pro, Pro Max, because it's a way better phone. But in all seriousness, though, it's not a bad phone. It wasn't that interesting to me because like it wasn't much of an upgrade compared to even the regular 13, and it literally has the same chip as the 13 Pro. Sure, it's fast and all, but like that's last year's chip in a 2022 smartphone. So yeah, I've heard about the rumors, and I was really hoping that they wouldn't do that, but they did it anyway. So yeah, it's just how it is. 14 Pro and 14 Pro Max, it's actually a pretty good phone. It actually kind of made me mad because, you know, I got the 13 Pro a month before this keynote, and when I heard about the 14 Pro, there were some features that were like, man, I could have really used that. It doesn't matter. The 13 Pro is still a really good phone. I like it. 14 Pro doesn't actually have a lot to offer, if I'm being real with you. Not something that I'm like crazy about. You know, there's the always on display. You know, that's gonna drain the battery because it's a full color background, which in iOS 16.2 they're gonna fix that. And there is a dynamic island. Sure, it's cool and all. The software is pretty crazy, but it's not like something you should really upgrade your phone for. I'm just saying, you don't need dynamic island. You're not gonna die if you don't have dynamic island on your phone. There's also crash detection on all the iPhones, but I also have that on the Series 8, so it's all good. So anyway, let's get to the watch. So I've had the Apple Watch Series 8 for about a month now, and I gotta say it's one of the best purchases I've ever made. I like having the notifications on the watch. It's way more convenient for me. What really made me want to go for the Apple Watch was hearing all the good stories about them. I've heard it's saved people's lives and it's made people more aware of their health, and you know, that's really important. You know, health is very important to focus on. I was originally going to go for the Series 7 in blue. Yeah, there was a blue color for the Series 7, and I was like, I'm gonna get that one. And you know what, it was already late. All right, it was already September. I was like, you know, I'll just wait until, you know, Series 8 is announced. And Series 8 was announced, and there's no blue color. I got midnight instead, which is a good color. It's the best color I could have gotten. I could have gone with the red one, but I liked midnight better. I'm not really that much of a red person as much as I used to. I like blue more than I like red. I'm just gonna say straight up, but midnight Apple will try to make it look like it's blue, but it's really black. Like, I barely see any blue. So it's nothing like the advertisement. False advertising. Alright, so I get these time to stand notifications, and it chooses the worst times to do it. I mean, I get that it wants me to be active, but like, can you like do it at another time? Like, I'm over here in the restroom, and all of a sudden, it's time to stand up. No, it isn't. I'm gonna piss and shit all over the floor. So if you want me to do that, I'll fucking do it just to get the stand hour. So, you know, and also it even does it during lectures. Like I'm in class and I get the same notification, time to stand. No, it isn't time to stand, because if I stand up, apparently it disrupts the class or something, and the professor's gonna get mad at me because I stood up during her lecture. And yeah, I'm not doing that. I just ignore it. I don't do nothing about it. I mean, I've done a few workouts, mostly the outdoor walk, until it started getting cold all of a sudden. So that's not fun anymore. I guess I should probably just go to my local fitness center. There are plenty of workouts that I can do over there, such as the indoor walk or run, if you count using the treadmill, which you have to have your wrist straight down. You can't have it up because it won't detect anything. So you gotta keep that in mind. Or you can do the indoor cycle or the stair stepper. When I first tried that, I was actually scared of it, I'm not gonna lie. But I've gotten used to it. It's not that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was. There is a pool in my apartment complex, but I never go there. I'm not a professional swimmer. I don't even know how to swim. The only thing I know how to do is just stand around, walk in the pool. And I never went to the deep end until like I started getting a little bit taller. But when I was a little kid, I never went to the deep end. So my nieces and nephews already know how to swim before I even know how to swim. I find it amazing how Apple has managed to optimize everything on the Apple Watch. All the apps are so perfectly optimized. Everything just works. I also like the different watch faces. However, I only use the portrait watch face with my wallpaper on it. I'm not really a big fan of those rounded clocks, but I do have several watch faces added on because I want to see how they look, and I like to play around with them and experiment with them. Metropolitan came in by default. That was the default watch face, but I didn't like it that much. I also like that you can use the digital crown to mess with some of them, play around with them. So, it looks really cool. Some of the watch faces are pointless. I have no idea why they were made, because there's no numbers, no lines to indicate what time it is. You just have to memorize what the clock looks like. I don't have time for that, I think having numbers on the screen makes things way more convenient, much easier to understand. If it's 11:37, I know it's 11:37 because it says 11:37 right away. So, that's just how I am, Some people, they like the rounded clocks. I don't. I don't see how anyone could actually use those watch faces that just have no numbers or lines on them. I don't get it, all right? That's just me, but yeah. One of the cool features that I didn't know about was the fact that you can actually control the camera through the watch. And that's exactly what I'm doing right here. If I can get you guys to see that. Yeah, that's basically how it works, I'm using it right now. I could use it for my videos. I could just put it on my phone, like I can put it around it, but the screen's not that big. I have the 45 millimeter, and it's not really the best way to do things. So I'm gonna pass on that. I'm not gonna use it a whole lot, but I just wanted to experiment with it just to get the angle right. So I'll use it for that and only that. But for anything else, like actually recording the video, no, I'm not going to constantly look at it and make sure everything's all good. And, I'm using the rear camera because, I want the videos to be way better quality. The front-facing camera is not really that good. So rear camera it is. I can see the watch to make sure that camera angle's right. Some of the new features that were introduced with this watch is cycle tracking. But I can't really use that feature for obvious reasons. Well, if you don't know, I'm a guy, so I can't do nothing about that, all right? That feature will forever be untouched. There is one good feature that was added that I can actually use. Everyone can use it, and that's crash detection. So I don't actually need an iPhone 14. Crash detection is on this watch, so I'll be fine. I've never been in a car accident before. That doesn't mean it's never gonna happen. If it ever does happen, you know, it will detect it and it will notify emergency services right away. Or actually 10 seconds if you don't respond fast enough. Soon I'm gonna be getting my own driver's license, so you know I can finally move on from having my mom drive me everywhere. I'm hoping probably December or 2022 or maybe sometime in 2023. I don't know when it's gonna happen. I don't know like how I'm gonna do it, but eventually I'm gonna get it all figured out. So yeah. So if you were paying attention, you might have noticed that the band colors are different. I have a blue band and a midnight band. Well, that's because I got the ML band, which, you know, the lady was telling me that, you know, it's perfect. It's the perfect size for me, but she was wrong. You know, when I got in the car, I tried it on and it was very, very loose. I'm talking so loose that it would fall down here or go right here, you know, like it was so loose, even more loose than it is right now. But you know, this is acceptable for me, so it's all good. But this one was just so loose, and she really overestimated the width of my wrist. So I told my sister about it, and she told me that her husband has some bands that he's not using. So I went over to go pick him up, and you know, they're blue, but it's all good because, you know, I like the color blue anyway. And at a certain angle, you can't really tell the difference. But, you know, in direct light, yeah, you can tell it's a different color. They both have like the Series 6. He has the larger one, so, you know, yes, the bands do work on this one because, you know, 44 millimeter and 45 millimeter, that's the screen size. You know, the watch is still the same size, so they still work perfectly fine. So I don't have any problems with that, so it's all good. Another feature that I feel is a must-have on the Apple Watch is the always-on display. It's definitely a battery drainer, don't get me wrong, but if you're not using your Apple Watch like a whole lot, you know, like you're not using it constantly, then, you know, always-on display is really good. And even if you are using it constantly, you know, always-on display is really great for having the time always showing at a glance. I never realized like how much it was really needed until like I actually experienced it. And you know, it's much more suited to an Apple Watch. The iPhone 14 Pro does have an always-on display. It works in pretty much the same way, but you know, it's an iPhone. It's a much larger screen. You're gonna use your iPhone a lot more than you're using your Apple Watch. I'm gonna be real here. That's why the iPhone 14 Pro is a bit more of a concern, because you see so much colors with the always-on display and it drains the battery so much. Apple is working on improving the always-on display, adding a black background. So, you know, you can save battery, you know, it turns off the wallpaper, just like, you know, Android does it. But, you know, you still have the option to turn it on or turn it off. It really depends. If you have a black background, it's going to save a lot more battery. My Apple Watch has actually never died on me. It's mostly stayed above 45%. Lowest I've probably had it was about 33%. And that's probably because I don't use it as much as most people would use it. I mostly just use it to see the time on my wrist, which is what a watch does. That's all you would really need in a watch. But you know, it does have all this extra stuff that you can use. Some people will use that a lot and others won't. Google recently got into the watch market with their new Google Pixel watch. And, you know, it looks like an AirTag, if I'm being honest with you. It's one of those rounded watches. So, you know, some people like the rounded watches better. And there's people that like the square watches. I like the squared ones because optimization is way easier for developers, and also it's just really easy to use. I cannot imagine typing on a rounded watch. I don't know how y'all do it, if y'all are even able to do it. I'm not really sure. I've never really used one of those watches before. Any kind of smartwatch has always been a squared one, even this one and this one. For a small watch, it's actually pretty easy to type on. And that's coming from someone who struggles to type on an iPhone 4S. So what do you guys think about the Apple Watch? What Apple Watch do you have, if you have one? Or what watch do you have in general? You might have a Samsung watch or the new Google Pixel Watch. If you have any plans of getting an Apple Watch, which one would you get? Make sure to leave your answers in the comment section down below. And, I apologize for not making videos very often. It's just that, college is in the way, and, I didn't really have such a good start to college, so I haven't really been able to focus on videos because I've been focusing too much on schoolwork and not enough on videos. It's just been a whole thing, and I'm trying to get it all figured out. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and goodbye.